More details are coming to light about the Norwegian man responsible for one of the world's worst peacetime massacres. In the lead up to the tragedy that killed more than 90 people, the right-wing extremist used social media to post his tirades and publish his 1,500-page manifesto. It quotes many mainstream figures, from William Shakespeare to Mark Twain to Salman Rushdie, even Australians, including Cardinal George Pell and historian Keith Windschuttle. Norwegians are struggling to understand what's happened, as Europe correspondent Philip Williams reports from Oslo.
What started as a normal Friday afternoon ended in savagery this country has never experienced. As if the city bombing wasn't enough, now it seemed that was almost the diversion. The gunman, dressed as a policeman and armed with guns and homemade bombs, systematically slaughtered as many of the young campers as he could, on the land and in the water.
I saw people standing up, start running, being shot in the head, being shot in the back, people falling over me, dead. The water turns red around me because this was near the water. Just a complete massacre.
At church services around the nation, people gathered together, seeking the comfort of others after the horror inflicted by one. The overwhelming sense here is just how on earth could this have happened to peaceful Norway, a country that rarely figures in the news anywhere, and now in the news for all the wrong reasons. People here seriously questioning how a Norwegian could have done this to fellow citizens.
It's easy to say this is a crazy guy, but you see now it seems he's quite intelligent as well, and you have to be serious that this is, in people's mind, this is human have committed this, and that's difficult to take in.
And he's like one of us, he's lived here in the city and he's been here all the time. So strange.
It's a common reaction, a bewildered sense of betrayal from within.
He is one of us, so to speak, and that's very hard to imagine for a quiet, safe and rather naive and innocent country like Norway.
The suspect, Anders Behring Breivik, may have planned this attack for years. This is the 1,500-page manifesto police believe he wrote. It's an articulate call for war against Muslims, a hatred for immigrants and multiculturalism. Advocating violence, he blamed governments for failing to protect countries against what he described as Islamic colonisation. And the simple rationale for the two attacks: take out the government and kill the next generation of leaders, the Labour Party youth on the island.
Well, yesterday we were outside the block where the Prime Minister's office is, where my office was, and to stand there and look at this empty block, open, every window blown out, and I worked there only a few days ago, and now it's a crime scene. There are dead bodies inside, blood, horror. It's not possible to, I think, I'm not able to put words on it.
After 3 days of non-stop work, this is the first time Hans Christian Amundsen has actually stopped and taken stock.
I feel it hit me, it hits me. One shouldn't stop. I think that's the answer. I'm sorry. All these flowers, all these lights, it's the engagement of the Norwegian people. I'm sorry.
There is some history of neo-Nazi violence in Norway. Left-wing bookshops were bombed in the 1970s, a May Day killing in the 80s, and attacks on immigrant areas more recently. But it was widely assumed that security forces had neutralised the threat and right-wing extremism was well under control. But although Breivik was active on several websites, he didn't attract attention.
He's alone and tell nobody about this. have no internet connections. He's taken part in the debate in internet, but I have read now his blogs and his articles, and they are quite polite. They are quite ordinary, and to know that just this person would be able to and planned this, it's quite impossible.
The military precision with which this appears to have been planned is astounding, setting up a farm years before the attacks that enabled him to buy 6 tons of fertiliser. It's likely that was the main ingredient of the city blasts, joining a gun club which allowed him to legally own the weapons, everything above board, nothing to attract attention.
This kind of antisocial, psychopathic type, which have no conscience, which have no empathy, which can do cruel things without have feelings. It seems also that he has some kind of Übermensch thinking, that he is a kind of messiahs that decide which have to die because of his idea.
Is it possible one man did all this? A single twisted mind that could kill children in the coldest of blood, again and again. To call out to them dressed as a policeman, then gun them down when they thought they were safe. Not a foreigner, but a fanatic from within.
Europe correspondent Philip Williams.